The universe operates on a principle that is far greater than simple desire and instant gratification. It doesn't deliver what you want on demand like a machine dispensing a product. Instead, it places before you circumstances, challenges, and people that force you to grow into the person you are meant to become. This is the test of alignment. What you want is often shallow, immediate, and tied to comfort. What you are given is designed to shake you, stretch you, and demand that you evolve into someone stronger, wiser, and more complete. The universe is not transactional, it is transformational. It will not simply hand over your wish list. Instead, it checks if you are aligned with the values, strength, and discipline necessary to truly carry what you're asking for. Consider this: if every desire were met without friction, would you ever sharpen your skills, refine your perspective, or strengthen your resilience? Of course not. Growth doesn't happen in the absence of resistance. It happens because of it. The universe tests alignment by sending what seems like setbacks, disappointments, or unreachable goals. These moments are not punishment, they are preparation. They ask you one simple question: are you willing to become the person who can hold what you claim to want? Many times we confuse desire with readiness. We think wanting something should be enough reason to have it. But wanting is passive. Readiness is active. Readiness means you have built the emotional stamina, the patience, and the integrity to sustain what you're asking for. The universe withholds not to deny you, but to develop you. When you encounter something or someone you deeply want but cannot have, that experience is a mirror. It reflects back the areas within yourself where alignment is missing. It highlights the gap between who you are today and who you need to become tomorrow. Think about the strongest steel. It is forged only in fire. The heat doesn't destroy it, it strengthens it. The same way, you are placed in situations where desire burns, but the outcome is withheld. That heat, that longing, that frustration, it forges you. It forces you to strip away illusions, to discipline your impulses, and to expand your understanding of yourself. Alignment means that when the time comes, you are not just able to receive what you want, you are able to sustain it without losing yourself. Every time the universe seems to resist your desires, it is actually asking you to pause and examine. What part of you still clings to comfort? What part of you is still chasing validation? What part of you is still too small for the vision you claim to carry? These questions are uncomfortable, but they are necessary. They strip away the illusion that life is about immediate fulfillment. They remind you that life is about growth, about preparing for more than you thought you could hold. The test of alignment is never easy. It requires patience, self-awareness, and courage to sit with the gap between wanting and receiving. It requires humility to admit that you are not yet ready, and it requires discipline to do the work that readiness demands. But once you begin to understand this principle, disappointment transforms into direction. You stop asking, "Why can't I have this now?" And you start asking, "What do I need to become so that I can hold this later?" This shift in perspective is everything. It takes you from frustration to empowerment, from victimhood to responsibility, from scarcity to growth. The unreachable carries with it a strange and often uncomfortable power. When something or someone feels just out of your grasp, it forces you into a deeper confrontation with yourself than easy victories ever could. The very act of reaching, of stretching toward what cannot be claimed, awakens parts of you that would otherwise remain dormant. This is the paradox of desire. It is not the attainment, but the pursuit, the tension between wanting and not having, that creates the richest growth. The unreachable isn't about denial, it's about depth. It presses you to turn inward, to discover who you are when what you want most is beyond your control. Every human being has experienced the ache of wanting something that feels impossible. Maybe it's a dream, a goal, or a connection that seems just out of reach. On the surface, it can feel cruel, as though the universe is teasing you with something beautiful only to snatch it away. But underneath that sting is a hidden gift. The unreachable strips away illusions. It forces you to ask hard questions. Why do I want this? What does this longing say about me? What is missing in my own life that makes me believe I need this so desperately? These questions do not have quick answers, but they create depth. They carve out new space within you for self-discovery, for honesty, and for growth. The truth is that when everything comes easily, we never stop to analyze ourselves. We rarely reflect when things flow in our favor. It is only when we face resistance, when the door will not open no matter how hard we push, that we are compelled to stop and look inward. The unreachable is like a teacher disguised as frustration. It teaches you patience, humility, and resilience. More than that, it teaches you self-awareness. It shows you the gap between who you are today and who you need to become to move forward. Think of the artists, the poets, the visionaries. Many of their greatest works were born not from fulfillment, but from longing. The unreachable stirred something in them so deep that they had no choice but to turn inward and transform their action to creation. Longing, when embraced, becomes fuel. It doesn't destroy, it deepens. It compels you to see layers of yourself you didn't know existed. It forces you to search for meaning not outside, but inside. The unreachable also challenges your sense of identity. When you cannot possess what you want, you are faced with the reality of who you are without it. This is not weakness, it is an invitation. An invitation to build your foundation so solid that your worth does not depend on acquisition. an invitation to create fulfillment that cannot be stolen by circumstances. In this way, the unreachable liberates you. It breaks the illusion that your completeness lies outside yourself. It makes you discover that the depth you seek has always been within you, waiting for the right challenge to bring it out. It is easy to believe that the unreachable is a curse, but in truth, it is a compass. It points you toward the places in your soul that need attention, the cracks in your foundation that need strength, the values in your life that need clarity. What feels like loss is actually direction. What feels like frustration is actually refinement. By looking inward, by facing the discomfort instead of numbing it, you begin to grow in ways that lasting fulfillment requires. The unreachable is not about keeping you away from what you desire. It is about guiding you into the depth that makes you worthy of carrying greater things ahead. Strength does not come from the moments when everything is smooth, predictable, and easy. Strength is carved out of friction, out of resistance, out of those moments when the world pushes back against you and demands that you decide who you are and what you stand for. Comfort has never created clarity. It lulls you into complacency, softens your edge, and keeps you from discovering the true extent of your potential. Resistance, on the other hand, forces you to confront difficulty, wrestle with uncertainty, and make choices that reveal your deepest identity. That is why strength is not a product of ease, but of friction. Think of a blade. Left untouched, it remains dull, incapable of cutting through anything of substance. But when pressed against the grindstone, when friction is applied, it sharpens. It becomes precise, useful, and powerful. Human beings are no different. When life rubs against you with resistance, it is not meant to break you. It is meant to refine you, to sharpen your character, to clarify your values, and to make you effective in the world. Without this friction, your true potential would remain hidden, buried under layers of comfort and convenience. It is in friction that your values are tested. Anyone can claim integrity when it costs nothing. Anyone can preach perseverance when the path is easy. But what happens when the storm hits, when people doubt you, when opportunities slip through your fingers? That is when your values are no longer words. They become choices. Friction makes you prove yourself not to others, but to yourself. It is the resistance of life that shows you whether your beliefs are genuine convictions or just convenient slogans. Comfort never demands sacrifice. It never challenges your habits, your weaknesses, or your excuses. It tells you to stay still, to avoid risk, to protect what little you already have. But friction does the opposite. Friction forces you to dig deeper, to push harder, to expand your limits. It confronts you with failure and forces you to ask, will I give up, or will I grow? It exposes the parts of you that are fragile and demands that you strengthen them. Through that struggle, you not only build resilience, you build identity. Resistance also strips away illusions. When you face difficulty, you discover what truly matters and what was never essential. The distractions that once consumed your time lose their power. The people who never really supported you are revealed. The excuses you once leaned on collapse under pressure. All that remains is the core of who you are and the values you refuse to compromise. That clarity only comes from friction. Without it, you risk drifting through life without ever anchoring yourself in something real. Even in nature, growth is birthed from resistance. Trees grow stronger when they face wind. Muscles grow when they are torn down and rebuilt through strain. The human spirit is no different. It requires friction to expand, to strengthen, to evolve. Without resistance, you remain untested, unsharpened, and uncertain of your own power. With it, you become capable of standing firm when everything around you shakes. Friction is not the enemy. It chisels away what is weak, unnecessary, and false, leaving behind a structure that is solid and enduring. Each challenge, each setback, each obstacle is not just a roadblock, but an opportunity to sharpen yourself into someone unshockable. The more you resist the temptation of comfort and embrace the sharpening force of friction, the more you align with the strength required to live a life of clarity, purpose, and impact. Desire is one of the most misunderstood forces in human life. People often see it only as a craving for something outside themselves, a hunger for an achievement, a relationship, a status, or an object. But desire is not random, nor is it shallow. Desire is a compass pointing inward as much as it points outward. The things that feel unattainable, the longings that seem just out of reach, are not there to torment you. They are there to guide you. They reveal not what you lack on the outside, but what you are truly searching for within. Desire is not about possession. It is about purpose. Think about the goals and dreams that keep you awake at night. They are rarely small, convenient things. They are often bigger than your current reality, larger than your comfort zone, and far beyond your immediate grasp. And that is by design. If your desires were always easy to achieve, they would never stretch you, never call you higher, never ignite the need to grow into more than you are today. The unattainable is not a wall meant to block you. It is a signpost meant to direct you. It tells you where your energy, your growth, and your attention must go. When you deeply desire something, it reveals a hidden truth about your purpose. That desire is a clue, a whisper from within that tells you what matters most to your soul. Maybe it is freedom, maybe it is love, maybe it is mastery of your craft, maybe it is impact, influence, or legacy. Whatever form it takes, desire strips away the noise of daily life and highlights what you are truly made to chase. You may not be able to hold it yet, but the atch you feel is not wasted. It is shaping your path forward. Desire also exposes the gap between where you are and where you need to be. If you crave recognition, perhaps what you truly seek is confidence. If you long for connection, maybe what you really need is authenticity. If you hunger for achievement, the deeper need may be discipline. In this way, desire is never just about the thing you want. It is about the person you must become to align with it. The unattainable reflects back to you the qualities you still need to cultivate, the inner strengths you must awaken, and the weaknesses you must overcome. The beauty of desire lies in its ability to pull you forward. Even when you cannot yet reach what you long for, the very act of moving toward it develops you. The striving, the discipline, the resilience, it all becomes part of your transformation. Desire fuels progress, not because you always get what you want, but because it keeps you moving, learning, and growing in the process. It forces you to go beyond the limits you once accepted as permanent. And here's the paradox sometimes. The thing you thought you wanted was never the real destination. It was only a signal pointing you inward to discover what your heart was truly asking for. You may never attain the exact form of your desire, but in chasing it, you uncover a deeper truth about yourself. You realize that what you sought was not the prize itself, but the purpose it awakened inside you. The pursuit makes you whole in ways possession never could. Desire is not your enemy, nor is it proof of weakness. It is your guide. It points to your purpose, even when cloaked in the disguise of the unattainable. It forces you to confront what is missing inside and challenges you to rise toward alignment. In this way, desire is both a teacher and a leader. It shows you not only what you want, but also who you were always meant to become. Limits are often seen as barriers, as frustrating walls that keep you from moving forward. Yet, limits are not the end of your journey. They are the very things that shape it. The walls you cannot climb are not placed there to stop you permanently. They are there to redirect you, to challenge your methods, to force you to adapt, and ultimately to make you stronger. Without limits, there is no growth. Without barriers, there is no breakthrough. It is in the face of limits that you learn what you are truly capable of becoming. When you encounter a wall, your first instinct may be frustration. You push, you try, and when it does not move, you feel powerless. But that feeling is only the beginning. Limits are not meant to diminish you. They are meant to awaken you. They make you question the strength of your strategy, the depth of your resilience, and the truth of your commitment. If everything were available without resistance, there would be no need to innovate, no reason to grow, no push to go beyond what you already know. The very existence of limits forces you to evolve. Think about nature. A seed does not remain a seed forever. To become a tree, it must push against the soil above it. That resistance, that barrier of earth, is its first wall. If the soil were absent, the seed would never develop the strength to stand tall in the wind. The struggle to break through is what equips it for survival. Humans are no different. The walls you face are not punishments. They are your soil. They are preparing you for the weight of the future you are asking for. Limits reveal creativity. When the obvious path is blocked, you are forced to look for another way. You climb higher, dig deeper, or find a new route altogether. This process of adapting builds not only resilience, but also resourcefulness. You begin to realize that the wall itself is not the problem. It is your perception of it. Once you shift from asking, why is this wall here, to what is this wall here to teach me, you step into the mindset of evolution. The walls you cannot climb also humble you. They remind you that strength alone is not enough, wisdom is required. Persistence is necessary, but so is patience. Limits force you to refine your character, to shed entitlement, and to earn your progress step by step. In this way, they become not just obstacles, but teachers. They shape you into someone who does not collapse under pressure, but adapts, grows, and rises to meet challenges with clarity and power. Sometimes, the wall is not meant to be climbed at all. Sometimes it exists to redirect you toward a path you would never have considered without it. What feels like rejection may actually be redirection. The job that didn't open up, the opportunity that slipped away, the relationship that could not last. All of these limits are walls. Yet each one nudges you toward a different path, one that requires you to become stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your true purpose. Limits are not dead ends. They are thresholds. They mark the point where the old version of you cannot continue and the new version of you must emerge. Every wall you face is a call to evolution, a demand that you stop operating on the level you've always known and step into the next version of yourself. You cannot avoid them, but you can choose how you respond to them. With resistance, you stagnate. With adaptation, you grow. And in that growth, you find the strength that comfort could never give. Do you want me to expand a sex of the when you can't have isn't loss? It's direction next in the same 600-word motivational style. Limits are often seen as barriers, as frustrating walls that keep you from moving forward. Yet, limits are not the end of your journey. They are the very things that shape it. The walls you cannot climb are not placed there to stop you permanently. They are there to redirect you, to challenge your methods, to force you to adapt, and ultimately to make you stronger. Without limits, there is no growth. Without barriers, there is no breakthrough. It is in the face of limits that you learn what you are truly capable of becoming. When you encounter a wall, your first instinct may be frustration. You push, you try, and when it does not move, you feel powerless. But that feeling is only the beginning. Limits are not meant to diminish you. They are meant to awaken you. They make you question the strength of your strategy, the depth of your resilience, and the truth of your commitment. If everything were available without resistance, there would be no need to innovate, no reason to grow, no push to go beyond what you already know. The very existence of limits forces you to evolve. Think about nature. A seed does not remain a seed forever. To become a tree, it must push against the soil above it. That resistance, that barrier of earth, is its first wall. If the soil were absent, the seed would never develop the strength to stand tall in the wind. The struggle to break through is what equips it for survival. Humans are no different. The walls you face are not punishments. They are your soil. They are preparing you for the weight of the future you are asking for. Limits reveal creativity. When the obvious path is blocked, you are forced to look for another way. You climb higher, dig deeper, or find a new route altogether. This process of adapting builds not only resilience but also resourcefulness. You begin to realize that the wall itself is not the problem. It is your perception of it. Once you shift from asking, "Why is this wall here?" to "What is this wall here to teach me?" you step into the mindset of evolution. The walls you cannot climb also humble you. They remind you that strength alone is not enough. Wisdom is required. Persistence is necessary, but so is patience. Limits force you to refine your character, to shed entitlement, and to earn your progress step by step. In this way, they become not just obstacles, but teachers. They shape you into someone who does not collapse under pressure, but adapts, grows, and rises to meet challenges with clarity and power. Sometimes the wall is not meant to be climbed at all. Sometimes it exists to redirect you toward a path you would never have considered without it. What feels like rejection may actually be redirection. The job that didn't open up, the opportunity that slipped away, the relationship that could not last. All of these limits are walls, yet each one nudges you toward a different path, one that requires you to become stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your true purpose. Limits are not dead ends. They are thresholds. They mark the point where the old version of you cannot continue, and the new version of you must emerge. Every wall you face is a call to evolution, a demand that you stop operating on the level you've always known and step into the next version of yourself. You cannot avoid them, but you can choose how you respond to them. With resistance, you stagnate. With adaptation, you grow. And in that growth, you find the strength that comfort could never give. Do you want me to expand as fast the one you can't have? Isn't loss, its direction next in the same 600-word motivational style? The experience of wanting someone you cannot have can feel like one of life's sharpest pains. It lingers in the mind, it weighs on the heart, and it creates the illusion of loss. Yet if you look deeper, you will see that the presence of the one you can't have was never about possession. It was about direction. Their role in your story is not to fill your life with permanence, but to awaken clarity within you. They arrive not to stay, but to reveal something about yourself you might never have seen without them. When you desire someone who remains out of reach, it forces you to examine why. What is it about this person that pulls you so strongly? Is it their confidence, their independence, their energy, their focus? That pull is not random. It is a signal. It reveals qualities you are meant to awaken in yourself, values you are meant to align with, or lessons you are meant to learn. The ache you feel is not proof of failure. It is evidence of growth waiting to happen. So often, people mistake this kind of longing for a curse, as though the universe cruelly dangled something in front of them only to snatch it away. But that is not what is happening. The one you can't have is not sent to punish you, but to redirect you. They highlight the gap between who you are today and who you are becoming. They show you the type of energy, the type of discipline, the type of clarity that resonates with your soul. Without realizing it, you begin to see yourself more clearly in the mirror of their presence. It is in this reflection that clarity is born. You start asking questions you would not have considered before. What do I truly want? What am I really searching for in others? What is missing within me that I expect someone else to provide? These questions may sting, but they cut through the illusions you carry. They dismantle the belief that fulfillment comes from possession. Instead, they reveal that fulfillment begins with alignment, with living in harmony with your own values and becoming someone who reflects the qualities you admire. The truth is that no person was ever meant to be the source of your completeness. The one you can't have serves as proof. Their inaccessibility pushes you to stop looking outward for validation and to start looking inward for strength. In that way, they become a compass, pointing not to themselves but to your own path. They awaken clarity about your standards, your boundaries, your desires, and your direction in life. The idea of loss implies something was taken away from you. But how can you lose what was never truly yours to begin with? What feels like loss is actually an invitation to grow. That person was a messenger, not a possession. Their role was to awaken something inside you that comfort, ease, and familiarity never could. They were meant to stir your heart just enough to shift your perspective, just enough to force you to seek clarity in places you had avoided. Direction matters more than destination. Sometimes the universe gives you people who were never meant to walk with you, but were always meant to point you forward. They show you not what you are missing, but what you are meant to become. The one you can't have is not an end, but a beginning, not emptiness, but redirection. They awaken clarity, and clarity is more valuable than possession. Because clarity stays with you forever, long after longing has faded, guiding you toward the life you are meant to create. Would you like me to Escalasux combine all 6 keynote expansions into one seamless full-length motivational speech so it feels like a complete Simon Sinek-style delivery?